So, I guess the latest rumor is that Putin is bombing biolabs all over Ukraine. Thus, he a good guy, yo. Okay. Anyway, let's read some of this nonsense. And maybe not all of it is. There's probably some truth to it. According to Fire Top Man, Putin is removing the Khazarian mafia. Okay, we're gonna go on a tangent. So you have the political left calling him Hitler, right? And then you got people on the right saying that that's ridiculous. And then you got the alt-right calling him Hitler. I'm trying to tell you, man, that these extremists, they're very, very similar, right? There's a lot of parallels there, right? So he's removing the Khazarian. Oh, and by the way, it's interesting, very interesting how the people on the right, obviously the alt-right won't call Trudeau Hitler because that would be giving them props. But the people that are just on the right, not that far right, I guess. I hate the political spectrum. Well, I think it's stupid. Anyway, they have no problem, right? Calling Trudeau Hitler, right? Like, come on, man. Like, if anyone is, and I'm not saying anybody is, but if anybody is, it's probably Putin. Yeah, not Trudeau. Maybe not yet. But they're one and the fucking same. Trudeau just doesn't have the kind of might, control. He doesn't have as much say as Putin does. If he did, he'd be fucking invading the US probably, right? Or something like that. Or Russia from the other side. So yeah, it's interesting how people on the right get all up in arms that the left is calling Putin Hitler, while the alt-right, right, people that are kind of like them, love to do that themselves. And then when Elon Musk calls Trudeau Hitler, they say nothing about that, right? They don't think that's ridiculous. They probably even thumb that shit up. Maybe they won't repeat it themselves, not to look like hypocrites, but we all know you are. So you could show these people, right? They've been talking about the World Economic Forum and how evil that is, blah blah blah, and how Trudeau and all these leaders are part of it, blah blah blah. And then, right, people on the right, and then you show them Putin doing the same thing, and it's like, oh no, pump the brakes, homie, no, right? Talking about hypocrisy. Get the man, you guys make me sick, man. Anyway, back to our rumor. Putin is removing the Khazarian mafia. Like, okay, how about some evidence? Hmm? People just say these things, right? They just blurt the shit out because it sounds good, right? And 13 biolabs put out there by our Department of Defense. Not mine. The Ukraine is not a sovereign country. It is part of Russia. What? If it's part of Russia, how is the Department of Defense in there? The U.S. Department of Defense. Why is Putin invading if it's part of Russia? These fucking people, man. What the fuck? So he's removing the cabal, right? So about these biolabs, I was able to find this little document, I guess. I don't know how legit this is, but there it is, right? Biological Threat Reduction Program. The U.S. Department of Defense Biological Threat Reduction Program. So these are military, you could essentially call them that, right? Military bases in Ukraine, U.S. military bases, right? But Ukraine is part of Russia. Okay, great. If you think it is, and it has U.S. military bases in there, then can you put two and two together, motherfucker? Especially since I served it up to you on the platter. Explain this one to me. How is it that... I will get to that in just a second. I'm sure it'll become relevant. And if I forget, well, let me know in the comments. Maybe we'll make a whole nother video about that. Anyway, reading from this page, the U.S. Department of Defense's Biological Threat Reduction Program collaborates with partner countries to counter the threat of outbreaks, deliberate, accidental, or natural, of the world's most dangerous infectious diseases. The program accomplished... Okay, so since we're going to be making arguments, let's establish some baseline, right? Presuppositions, axioms, if you will. Maybe not quite axioms, but premises. Show me, and obviously I got to speak in code, show me one scientific study that isolates natural, we'll just stick to those, right? Natural, or even man-made, pathogenic agent, yeah, isolated from a sick person, and then puts that pathogenic agent in another person and gets it sick, just like that initially sick person. Show me one scientific study that does that with any kind of a so-called virus. Show me one, all right? So if you want to believe in fairy tales, right, then you have a certain worldview, and from that a whole bunch of bullshit will follow, because you'll just stack bullshit on top of bullshit. Now if you want to follow the science, then come along with me. Anyway, so in other words, this ain't what it seems, right? Hint, hint. The program accomplishes its biothreat reduction mission through development of a bio-risk management culture, international research partnerships, and partner capacity for enhanced biosecurity, right? Security. This is all about security. What's bio? What does bio mean? Well, things that are alive, right? Live things. Biosecurity. So viruses are dead. These chemical agents, chemical weapons, all that shit is dead, right? Who's alive? So the biosecurity state is what? Okay, biosafety and biosurveillance measures, right? So they're surveilling live. So us, right? Yeah, okay, moving on. The biological threat reduction program, right? Biological. What's the only thing that's alive here? Us. So who's the threat? Okay then. Priorities in Ukraine are to consolidate and secure pathogens, right? We are all viruses, right? Okay. And toxins of security concern, and to continue to ensure Ukraine can detect and report outbreaks, right? These are military bases, right? Right. By dangerous pathogens before they pose security or stability threats. I hope everyone knows what we're talking about here, right? Current executive agents of the Biological Threat Reduction Program in Ukraine are the Ministry of Health, the State Service, right? And the Food, Safety, and Consumer Protection. The State Service of Ukraine for Food, Safety, and Consumer Protection. Consumer protection, right? We have to ensure that consumption happens, right? We have to protect consumption. The National Academy of Agrarian Sciences and the Ministry of Defense. So, once again, Ukraine being the breadbasket, I'm sure you could put two and two together. And this, this biosurveillance has to do with probably also grabbing the control of the food supply, right? Those things are alive, just like ourselves, right? Our food is at least at one point alive, right? Ministry of Defense, COVID-19 Response Assistance, Sanitary Epidemiological Department of the Medical Command of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, right? So you see this medical/military industrial complex right before your eyes. Received 4 mobile laboratories from DTRA with the goal of reinforcing the system of epidemiological surveillance of the armed forces of Ukraine. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense received an official order from the Cabinet of Ministers. Blah, blah, blah. On April 11, 2020, Zelensky visited, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the news article of him visiting, right? These labs. Oh, dang. Oh, would you look at that? Soldiers, right? Tents, military hospital, tent thingies, whatever, right? More soldiers. Looks like a mobile military operation, right? Okay, so there you have it, right? Well, what are they doing over there? Maybe also working on bioweapons? Maybe. Who knows, right? Blah, blah, blah. BTRP has upgraded many labs of the Ministry of Health and the State Food Safety and Consumer Protection Service of Ukraine, reaching. So this is about ensuring commerce, right? Also, safeguarding commerce, if you will. The science of writing men, blah blah blah. This is bullshit. Active research projects. This is what they do. Risk assessment of selected avian EPDs, right? Potentially carried by migratory birds over Ukraine, and chickens, ducks, geese, things we eat, birds we eat. Prevalence of Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever virus and hantaviruses in Ukraine, and the potential requirements for different diagnoses of suspect leptospirosis patients. I don't know, but I'm gonna guess that this fever and virus attacks also ruminants. We're just gonna cows, goats, maybe sheep. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't know, but maybe the spread of African swine fever virus. Okay, so you got pork and domestic pigs, right? Pork and wild boars. They'll hunt in the King's Forest. Building capacity for insight into the transmission of blah blah blah. Genome sequencing and phylogenetic analysis. Wow. Oh, there we go. Biosurveillance network of the Silk Road. Right? So they are going to, or were planning to, hoping to biosurveil the Silk Road, right? Which is how China is going to get rich off. I mean, these people will get rich too, right? People that are engaged in this commerce. But that's China first and foremost, right? So once again, more proof that all these people are working together to fuck you, right? They're ensuring that China's business goes on as planned, right? And obviously they want a piece of the pie for themselves too. And they're going to biosurveil the Silk Road to I don't know, probably get rid of pirates, you know what I mean? Or some other organized groups that may need to be gotten rid of in order for, business to go on as planned, something along those lines. Multinational well-functioning disease surveillance networks, right? In the Eastern European region that includes Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine. So basically, the Western military is getting a foothold in that region and a piece of the Silk Road pie. Essentially, that's what's happening, right? And they're probably also working on, bioweapons and maybe experimenting on their population with various medical treatments, you know what I mean? Developing various blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Like, let your imagination run fucking wild, right? All these things have been done in history. We are well aware, those of us that are, of all this type of stuff that's been going on. So this is just more of that same fucking nonsense, right? So are they working on like chemical, biological weapons? Probably, right? Are they working on developing certain tests for various diseases that you could detect in people and animals and then use that to surveil and control people and animals, right? Probably, right? Or did some of, the Ukrainian people all over Ukraine, were they subjected to certain kind of treatment, and now they're being pushed into all these other countries, perhaps spreading some kind of a, you know, manufactured, man-made toxin, disease? Maybe, right? Maybe. Who knows? Like none of this is good for us, right? Whatever the fuck they were doing over there, the U.S. military, Ukrainian military, and these mad fucking scientists, whatever the fuck it is that they were doing over there, it's not good for life, right? On this planet, it's just not good. We could all agree on that, probably. Okay, so Putin going in there, destroying these labs, yeah, he's the good guy. Oh, really? So this is what I was the tangent I was gonna go on. And more proof of this just being orchestrated theater and a bunch of fucking nonsense for the sheep to swallow up, like the sheep that they are. I have lost so much respect for humanity. Most people. Anyway, so there was this whole hullabaloo about Chernobyl, right? That the Russians took over Chernobyl, and the Western media is telling you, oh, they're gonna blow it to smithereens, perhaps, and cause another crisis, perhaps, like as if they didn't have nukes, if they really wanted to do that, right? It actually made more sense to believe that they were there to maybe protect this from, some errant missile, or some bad Ukrainian agent, or maybe even Zelensky, right? Who knows? Maybe there's, in this exclusion zone, maybe there's more of these various facilities and labs, right? Just kick the people the fuck out of there. Nature seems to be doing just fine, right? Someone was, it's not like the thing was abandoned, right? They had to take it over. They had to go in there and take it over, supposedly. So somebody was there protecting it, right? So who knows? Maybe there's more, military. I'm sure there are, right? At the very least, some kind of research lab monitoring the sarcophagus, or whatever the hell, right? Doing studies on nature. But apparently, and this is all over mainstream, this is all over every news, kind of news, right? The Russian army and the Ukrainian army, right, laid down their guns. And decided to jointly protect that zone, right? So there's something very important for everybody there, right? That they want to safeguard, preserve, whatever, right? Save it for whatever the fuck, right? So these people are at war, or are they working? Like, which is it? Well, clearly they're working together, right? Yeah, they're sending in little fucking kids and citizens with guns to shoot at each other, fucking useful idiots and sheep, right? But ultimately, clearly, they're working together. What more proof do you need? They're working together. Duh. Like, I just don't understand why this is so difficult. Anyway, so Putin is this good guy because he's going in and bombing, chemical weapons, bioweapons laboratories all over Ukraine that America put there, right? I'm supposed to believe, right, that he's just indiscriminately blowing up to smithereens uh, biochemical, biowarfare, whatever the fuck labs, right? Potentially releasing some kind of nastiness, chemicals, who the fuck knows, right? Some man-made viruses, whatever the fuck, toxins, bioweapons, just releasing them into the air, right? So that makes him a good guy. While at the same time, for whatever reason, they want to safeguard and protect Chernobyl. But he's blowing these biolabs to smithereens, right? Putting his people, Ukrainians, everybody in danger potentially, right? All right, great. Or he got the memo that they took all that shit out of there, and now he's simply destroying the fucking evidence. Oh yeah, it's he gonna get Jew man out of there, I tell you, right? So this is why it actually makes sense to talk about Putin as if he like there are a lot of parallels between him and Hitler. Now I'm not saying that you know he's as bad or whatever, but that doesn't matter to me, right? Because they're all in it together. They all share the blame, and the same thing could be said for Hitler, Churchill. Like for me, I never differentiated between, insofar as like how good or bad they are, between Churchill, Hitler, Stalin, right? Truman. Like they're all in this together. They're all just as evil. They just they always have a fall guy, right? So in that case, that was Hitler, I guess. But a lot of the comparisons, or the comparison to Hitler, makes sense on a lot of accounts, right? I mean, he's looks to be starting a world war, perhaps, we'll see, in Europe. Um, he is an authoritarian, nationalistic type of a figure with imperial desires, right? So how do you rectify those two, right? It's a little weird, but there you have it, right? I guess you're gonna have to ethnically cleanse in order to be a nationalistic imperialist, right? You're going to have to do something along those lines. Anyway, you know, obviously it's two different times in history, but like the game plan is the same, right? The game plan is the same. Like when it came to Hitler, the excuse was that, the NKVD or some rogue forces from within the Polish border, according to the other side, they were agents provocateurs, or they were, false flag operations. But whatever the case was, there was some um, commies, right, murdering Germans that lived in Poland, right? This is what these people do. They mix these populations together by force, right? They create these artificial borders, and Germans, with their march east, would just push into Slavic territories and put their people there, and there was going to be tension. And to stoke those tensions, they probably put some useful idiots to work to really massacre. And truthfully, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I believe this stuff did happen. Oh no, hold on a second. All these bioweapons in the air making me sneeze. Anyway, I'm back. Yeah, I do believe that some German citizens on the Polish side were murdered, and that was like, there's talk of some German radio station. I forget exactly the details now, but there was a whole bunch of, whether they were false flags or psyops or whatever. The narrative was there that Hitler had to go in and protect his people, right? Because these evil Polish people, they're probably fucking, who knows who they were, right? They're probably working for the Nazis anyway. They were murdering, his people. So that was one of the excuses, right? They were just agitating Hitler. He just, they forced him. And there's a lot of truth to that, right? And it's the same narrative with Putin, right? Except before it was, different countries agitating a different country, but the narrative is the same. They're poking the bear, right? And the bear is now awoke and awakened and is gonna fuck shit up, right? Start World War III, perhaps, right? So there are like there's a lot of similarities. Even when you look at World War II war stories and like this valiant defense by these like 12 Polish soldiers on this peninsula over there, how what was it, Westerplatte or something like that, right? How bravely they fought and fought off the enemy to their deaths, right? Like it's the same fucking these tales of these like brave Polish pilots that would take out so many of the enemy plane. Like it's the same fucking narrative, people. Jesus, I'm not even a history buff, and I could tell you as much, right? So the comparison, it makes sense in certain ways, right? It makes sense. There's a lot of analogies to be drawn there. But anyway, this whole idea that, like he's a good guy because he's bombing biosurveillance, biosecurity labs, right? Well, why not just take them over and give the evidence to the world, right? Why are you destroying the evidence? And how are you bombing places that could potentially release really, really destructive agents into the air and kill, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, millions of people maybe, right? Well, if indeed he is bombing these biosecurity, biolabs, biosurveillance, whatever the fuck places, right? And he must know because they told him, the other side, oh yeah, it's cool to bomb them now because we took all the nasty shit out of there. Go on ahead, destroy the evidence, right? And then we can have all these alt-right retards, all these right-wing retards. We don't even have to do anything. They'll concoct some fucking retarded story about how you're a hero because you're destroying American installations, right? In Ukraine because we let you or we told you to or we agreed that this had to be done, right? He's essentially, right? He's either if he is bombing biolabs, he's potentially releasing uh, really, really, really bad shit into the air, or he's destroying evidence, right? Which obviously, because you're a retard, makes him a good guy. Thanks for fucking watching, man. I just can't stand you dumb fucks, man. Shout out to all the thinking people out there, right? People who are, you know, trying to keep a level head and be rational about this shit that's going on, all right? Shout out to you guys. Obviously, I'm not talking to you. Just all these fucking QAnon retards, man. Fuck out of here, man. Get lost.